Hi, school librarians absolutely rock. They are the hub of a school. They know the most about everything. They can find a book, they can find information, they can teach you how to find the right book or the right information. They are just the centerpiece of any great school. We could not be more happy with the librarians we have here in South Brunswick. And thank you all for all you do. And know that you guys are the greatest.
Hi, my name is Lisa Manganello, and welcome to South Brunswick High School Library. I've been librarian here for 14 years, and I've loved every minute of it. And I'm going to give you a quick tour of my program today so that you have an idea of all the good work that we do here at South Brunswick High School. So to start out, you get a view of my library and you get our mission statement. And you'll notice in my mission statement, it's really important for me to do a bunch of things well. First of all, we're building enthusiastic readers, critical thinkers, skillful researchers, and lifelong learners. We want our students to be ethical, both in the way they use information and what they produce, so their products also need to be considerate of ethics. We, as everyone is this year, are living in a different world that none of us ever could have imagined. So I wanted to start off with some of the things we're doing during the pandemic to keep our students engaged and involved in reading. So we have done a curbside pickup throughout this entire year. Students can place a hold in Alexandria, our online catalog, and I've pushed into English classes and had a bunch of different ways that I've communicated this out to our teachers, our students, and our families. So we've had some really good results with our curbside pickup. Those bins are out front, and the students simply stop by to pick up the books when they're ready for them. One thing that the librarians in our district do really well is we try to support district goals. So things that are important and valuable to our administrative team are important and valuable to us. That goes for things like our district motto. This year our motto is, there's always a silver lining, find yours. We've used that as a springboard to create a reading campaign for our students. You'll notice there's a bulletin board in our picture, and every one of those books has a silver lining. The little description sort of describes for the student exactly what that silver lining might be and gives them some ideas on what they might want to read in this, what could be a very dark time.
School librarians make such a difference in our world here at South Brunswick. They help us to be a part of the research process. They are involved in their school community and help kids to be excited about books. They partner with teachers. So many of our initiatives are done in partnership with our school librarians. They seem just like the location of a library is usually in the heart of the building. Our librarians tend to be the heart and soul of our education system here, and we really rely on them, appreciate them, and know that they truly make a difference for our kids. And I know that our staff appreciate their expertise, and we couldn't do it without them.
Come on into my library and you'll notice it is a big space. I should have mentioned from the beginning, my high school has 3,000 students, or nearly 3,000 students on a good year, and we do serve a wide variety of students and staff. So as you enter, one of the things you'll see right off the bat is our brand new "For There Is Always Light If Only We're Brave Enough to See It" quote from Amanda Gorman, the brilliant inaugural poet that we all heard in January. You'll notice that we try to reach out to students both physically, and you can see that with the decoration on our pole, but you can also see that on social media. We are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we have a vibrant website, and all of those things have served our students really well in remote because it allowed us to continue that natural communication and to work hard for our building in order to create and continue that sense of community that we build. Here is our website, and you'll notice that the website has bunches of pieces of information on it, everything from our databases to a class projects tab. Each class that comes in to collaborate with the librarian gets its own tab, and those resources are available for students. They can be posted to Google Classroom, and they are a way that you can connect with the library even while we are remaining in remote. I'm proud to say that this website has been under design and development for the last 14 years, and it's really allowed our students to hit the ground running when students and teachers had to go home last March. So that's been a real bright side for us in all of this. You'll notice that we stress things like summer reading. We have a vibrant summer reading program that we run to encourage our students to keep learning and keep reading during the summer. Viking Challenge is a series of books that we pick out each year in coordination with our teachers and our administrators to, again, engage and get our students to see themselves as readers, which is probably one of the biggest challenges we have in a high school. So you'll find tons of resources on our website. One of the things librarians do really well and feel really passionately about is curating a collection. Now, that collection might be a physical collection, like a book collection. I'll tell you the truth. My students, and I've done a lot of polling, both formal and informal, to ask them what kind of materials they'd really like to read. They still love books, actual print books. We've had ebooks and variations of different ebook products over the years, and while those are widely used, they still love books. So they do and I do. And that curated collection is done by examining respected publishing companies, respected publishing digests, and really figuring out what books are going to work for our curriculum, for our students, for their interests. We want our students to see themselves in the books. They want those to be mirrors, in the words of Rudine Sims Bishop, and we want them to be mirrors and doors and windows that they can peer out into and see the world. So that book collection is really important, but our online collection is equally important, and we've really expanded that this year to try to support all during the pandemic. As you can see here, two more examples of a great curated book collection. On the left, you'll notice there's my Women of the United States Congress display, which was up last March when we closed, and a beautiful display of authors of color that we did also around the time that we closed last year. Now, we do a lot of teaching here at the high school. Librarians are no exception to that. We see all students, every single freshman, 3 times at least during the year. There are 3 lessons that are built into our curriculum. The first one is an American government lesson. So all students come to us for that lesson, and it's a plagiarism lesson. It's designed to get them comfortable with the resources that are available to them to help them with their research and their writing. And it also is designed to give them the tools that they're going to need for the next 4 years. Now, that is paired with an English orientation. Students come back to me with their English classes for a 90-minute orientation. During that orientation, we cover important things like the district acceptable use policy, which all our students sign, and we want to make sure that they're clear and they understand what they sign and what their responsibilities are. We give them a tour of our fantastic library, and we introduce to them subscription databases to use for the curriculum that they're coming with. So, for example, for English, we have a whole guided research quest, which takes them on a tour of some of the databases that they're going to use and gives them really important search skills that we expect and our teachers expect here at the high school. So after going through English orientation, which normally happens in September and October, we know as a faculty that our students are ready to research and they're ready for that next step in the process. Now, in addition to seeing us during the plagiarism unit, our students also come back to us in American government for a paraphrasing primer. And what that is it's a way that we try to encourage our students to see themselves as researchers and to respect the power of their own words. So we teach them word step by step how to paraphrase a passage, and we model it for them. We have multiple points in the lesson where the students are actually creating their own paraphrases and they're sharing them out, they're comparing, and then we go through again the resources that can help them as they're both paraphrasing and citing those lessons. That lesson is built in ahead of one of the first research projects that they're going to do at the high school level. So our social studies teachers, this was created in response to a need that the social studies department expressed, and it's turned into a lesson that we've done for years now that works really well for both the librarians, the students, and the teachers. Now 10th and 11th grade, we see them all back here again. One of my favorite parts of being a librarian is the fact that I get to see my students grow from year to year, because I, as a special, I'm seen throughout the 4 years that they're here. And there's a formal lesson that we do with primary source selection in U.S. history. That can take a bunch of different forms depending on the group of students that are coming in, but we always make sure that every 10th grader has an exposure to a primary source, understands what they are, how to find them, and the value that's in them. Because let's face it, when you're looking at research, primary sources are one of the things that grab you and pull you in, and we want our students to have that sort of experience here at the high school. We also support our global studies, which is our 11th grade social studies team, and we do that by giving them resources for their project-based learning, which they do during all points in the year, but especially at their culminating project. We do book talks for independent reading titles. We have an entire section of our catalog that corresponds with the different countries that they research, so that our students have the ability to pick independent reading books based on the country that they're choosing or they're following at that moment. We do a lot with our English classes. English classes come in for, many of our classes do sustained silent reading, known as SSR. Students come in to borrow books for that particular use. They also come in for their independent reading needs. We love that our students still see themselves as readers, and it's something we work really hard to encourage, because if you can get a high school student to see themselves as a reader, you are putting them on the path for success going off into college and beyond. We have our business teams, and some of our specials come in and make use of the library for existing research tasks. Research tasks and research and inquiry is across our curriculum. Every single curriculum area does something that is research-based, and all of these things are coordinated with and supported by the librarians. So we want to make sure that we understand what our teachers need and what our students need, and that everyone has the ability to rely on each other. We work as a team. 12th grade, we're preparing them definitely for stepping out into the world. Part of the way that we do that is through their English research and inquiry unit. They are going to be doing a synthesis essay. And a synthesis essay is taking a topic and then looking at different sources and combining those sources so that you are showing that you understand the research you're reading, and you're able to apply it and synthesize it so that you can share it with your audience. We do that by supporting the selection of research topics, by showing a group of guided research resources. We teach them the ins and outs of searching at the college level by using databases like JSTOR and some of the other higher level databases that they're going to be seeing. In some cases, students would be seeing these for the first time as a college freshman. South Brunswick students see this regularly, 9th, 10th, 11th, and finally in 12th grade. So by the time they leave us, they have a really strong foundation in what it means to be a researcher and how to do that ethically. So we do a lot of collaborating with teachers, which is one of the things I really love about my job. We do outreach. We do community projects. The desk that you see in front of me, that's my welcome desk. This was built by one of our Boy Scouts, an Eagle Scout project that just is one of the best things about my space. So we try to coordinate not only with the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, with some of our teams and our clubs at the high school, like Amnesty International and other resources that we can kind of draw together as part of our community. But we support outside projects, and we bring those community points into our library so that our students have access to them and they know they're there. We have author visits. Author visits at the high school level are tricky to plan. You have to find the right author. You have to find an author that's willing to be generous with their time and really have the kind of literature that the students really find interesting and appealing. The first author visit we did a few years ago was the one. It was Eric Klein was an independent author. Fantastic visit. He was so generous with his time. Not only did he come to visit us in person, but he followed up with Skype with our creative writing and our writing for film and media and some of our English classes. So students could read his work critically, ask him questions about what it's like to be a published author, and kind of build projects off of that event. So I don't want you to think of an author visit as a one-shot. Author visits take a tremendous amount of preparation. We put together a group of resources for our teachers to introduce the author and embed him into the curriculum. We then create an opportunity for students to give us questions or feedback that they want to express to the author the day of the visit. That could be with their own voices the day of the visit. It could be something that we prepare ahead of time. And afterwards, as this slide shows, we continue that learning. We continue building on what was started in that high interest author visit by looping in connected Skype and connected internet and networking opportunities for our kids. It gives them a great public speaking opportunity too, both to speak to a live author and one via Skype. Here's Neil Schusterman, National Book Award winner, who came to us in the spring of 2020. And this was a fantastic event. My teachers are still talking about it. It got the students engaged and interested in the literature, and they really felt like it was an opportunity that they couldn't believe their students had the ability to experience here at the high school. We do community events, and I talked a little bit about that, but your librarians bring to their library the things that they love. For me, that's tea. This started years ago with a South Brunswick reading initiative. We do a town-wide read. We've gone through a bunch of different titles for that town-wide read. The one that started tea was Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland has a tea party, and as an event to celebrate South Brunswick Reads, I started a tea party. Now, that tea party has grown from a single tea party to a series of tea parties that now happen over the years. The kids look forward to them. They are so excited to find out that tea day is coming. I run tea from 7:30 in the morning until 2:30 in the afternoon, the entire day, and students can stop by throughout the day. You'll notice on the tables, I always connect my teas with books because it gives me an opportunity to talk to the students not only about South Brunswick Reads and about what we're doing as a library or as a community, but it also gives me a great way to slide books into kids' hands because I always have these books available. You can see the students on the right are definitely immersed in a pile of books that they've found from some of the choices on the table. So this is a way that we promote reading, we build a community, and we work with our clubs. You can see Amnesty down on the lower left. Amnesty International has partnered with us in the past to sort of expand this and offer it even more frequently because it's such a big hit. This is a case where the librarian brings what she loves and shares it with her students and teachers, and it becomes a building-wide event.
When I think of a school library, I am immediately filled with warmth and joy. It's a safe haven of sorts in our schools, a quiet place to study, learn, and explore and reflect. And obviously, at the center of these sacred spaces are our school librarians. Simply put, our librarians are invaluable. Not only are they teaching our students curriculum, but they're helping them develop important skills that they'll use way beyond school. They're collaborating with and supporting our staff. They're leading learning and professional development in our district. They're staying current on technology and new book titles because things are ever changing. They're building community, they're making everyone feel welcome, and they're making sure that every student can see themselves somewhere in a book on one of their shelves. I think they instill a love for word and story and information, and they instill a sense of citizenship and respect and curiosity. We need a safe haven more than ever right now, and our librarians provide us with that and so much more. I know I'm very grateful for the work that these educators do.
So how do I make a difference? Many schools are not lucky enough to have a librarian, and I say that because I feel like I do make a difference here at the high school. We work with our ed tech coaches to host a tech snack. That's what you see on the right there, where faculty can come together throughout the day and they can enjoy fresh PD once a month that we kind of run through together. We work with our technology team to make sure that all of our students have access to device and that those devices are functioning to their best of their capacity. We make sure we present. We are presenting at department meetings, at faculty meetings. I joke here that my teachers get tired of listening to me because I always try to have something new to tell them, to share with them at every meeting that we attend. I want to make sure that they look at the library and the librarian as a resource that they can call on when they need to. And fortunately, 14 years in, I feel like I've gotten to that point where that relationship goes both ways. We design and create lessons that our teachers need. So this is a perfect example. We are right now working in remote. So I have been working with teachers to come up with lessons that will work for their kids as we are in remote, as we return hybrid. All of those, we're working together to get the best out of our curriculum and really give it to children in a way that it makes the most sense for them right now.
As supervisor of English and Social Studies, I've had the distinct pleasure of working with the librarian for the last 7 years. Each year, both departments come with their students and have lessons that have been created especially for them on plagiarism, MLA formatting and citation, summarizing and paraphrasing, databases, webcasts, anything to help the teacher and to make their job easier, more efficient, more differentiated. The librarian never hesitates to jump right in and answer questions, direct students, and help them with research. Book talks are regularly given. Authors are scheduled to visit. There's not a book that the librarian has ever talked about that I haven't said, I need to read that book. They have a special way of telling a story that even the most reluctant reader finds it hard to resist. We're very fortunate here at South Brunswick to have librarians that support us day in and day out, warmly welcome us and students to the library to take out books and to do whatever we need to do there to get the job done.
I serve on curriculum committees, and it's one of my favorite things to do. Suggesting book titles to the English team, going over research tasks with the social studies team or the science team, that's something that allows me to get the inside view of the curriculum, understand it well, and be able to support it well inside the library. And that's really the point of a librarian. It's to be that person that can guide teachers and students through a research task. We support at a district level both reading initiatives like South Brunswick Reads, parent academies that happen in our evenings, and we do a lot of staff training, so both in-building PD and also district-wide PD. We work with our teams to be sure that we are involved in all of the different training that happens throughout the year. So during the pandemic, what did I do to make a difference? We created Fun Friday activities for our students, and we have a whole website just devoted to that. Every Friday in the spring, there was a different theme, and those themes were communicated out to students through our websites, and there were a different variety of activities that they could participate in. Senior Society is something that's a South Brunswick tradition here, where our graduating seniors have the option to take the last 3 weeks that they're in school with us and spend it doing a service activity. So we wanted to continue that as we were in remote, so we made sure that we put plans in place to be able to support a virtual version of this service. We did a virtual graduation website, which brought in all of our K-12 teachers and allowed them a place to be able to celebrate and congratulate the class of 2020, to make sure that those students felt supported and that our teachers felt like they were part of the graduation. We created a remote learning help center, and we did that early on. As soon as we went home, we had a Google form in place where we were taking students that didn't have the ability to get on technology or weren't able to function at home, and we were putting those on the radar of people in the building who could fix those problems for students, be it our tech department with some of the hardware or Wi-Fi issues, be it our counseling department if the issue went along with something that was social emotional learning. We made sure that that information got to the right people. We did a lot with social justice this year. We both developed a professional development module that we could turnkey and remote. We put together a book study. We trained new teachers, and we trained returning staff. We created a virtual staff room and campus website to try to give our community a sense of community in all this. We created a Save Our Schools site because when we got our funding cut in the fall of 2020, the librarians knew that it was important for us to be able to rally with the district and find a way to support those funds to have them reinstated. We created something called the 3G Network, and that's basically a team of teachers that's only purpose is to improve staff morale. Librarians are community builders. They try to take people and things and bring them together in a way that helps everyone.
Simply put, a school librarian is always about kids, kids first. But at the same time, it's about teachers as well. They love collaborating with teachers. A school librarian is always about supporting and leading instruction. When librarians and teachers work together, they create magic. Magic happens right in front of you. And that's what our librarian does at SBHS. Librarians always make themselves available to everyone. Doesn't matter who you are. They're always thinking about what do kids need? What do teachers need? What can we do to support? I love when they stock our shelves, and that's physically and virtually. Our librarian selects the most engaging and motivating materials out there. Librarians are go-to people. Our librarian, you can rely on her for anything. You go to her for anything technology, research-based, ideas, resources. Librarians have the answers, and they have much, much more to offer.
So, how do I help my principal? We created a reentry guide together that was a single stop for all families and students to get information as we came back into hybrid learning. We created new teacher training sessions, as I said, on social justice in August. We had a great time doing that as a group. We did multiple Board of Education presentations together. We created an 8th grade virtual parent night so that we made sure that our 8th grade families, those families of rising 9th graders, got the full SBHS experience, even though we can't welcome them in person just yet. We created a back to school night and a parent teacher conference website. That allowed us to continue traditions like back to school night, where teachers communicate their expectations, or parent-teacher conferences where you get that one-on-one time to talk to your child's teacher, and we turn them into websites where parents could access them from home. This went off to rave reviews because we didn't have a parking issue for the first time ever. With my district administrators, I work with our assistant superintendent and our district librarians to create our South Brunswick Reads theme for the year. This is our 11th year of running a community-wide read, and we do it in partnership with South Brunswick Public Library. So it's a really great connection between our administrators, our district librarians, and our public librarians. We also provide resources for anything that our administrators need, be it something for a board meeting, a parent presentation, a staff PD opportunity. All of these things are possibilities when you have a librarian and someone that wants to make a difference.
At SBHS, our librarian is a difference maker, and that's what I believe librarians are. They're all difference makers. They go above and beyond, and it's amazing to see the work that they produce. We love our librarian.
So how do I make a difference? For more information on my library program, ask me. I'm glad to answer. And I have my contact information up on the screen. I can be reached by email. I can be reached by phone. You can follow me on social media, and I'm only too glad to answer questions about why my program makes a difference. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm looking forward to a day when you can come and visit me in person.